You're listening to the Name Drop Podcast, where we reveal the industry experts and brilliant founders behind the marketing campaigns and brands you know and love. In a world where things change fast and marketing is the opposite of static, we are here to reveal the marketing geniuses and how they find their inspiration, hoping to inspire you along the way. Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of the Name Drop Podcast. Today we have a really special guest joining us. This is someone who's been a majorly important person in my life, one of my biggest mentors and advocates. We're going to be hearing from him on what it looks like to be an entrepreneur today, the experience of building a startup that is a very different type of setup from previous entrepreneurial experiences, and what health looks like in America. So lots of different topics to cover. I really hope you guys enjoy the episode. Hello.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing great.
How are you feeling today?
Hey, I'm in New York. It's March and the weather's like it's June, so I'm feeling great.
So you're having a positive New York experience?
So far. I've learned that the closer you are to the park, the more positive the New York experience is.
That's fair. That is the nicest area. So if you can be close to that, it's a better setup.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's quiet. A lot of people around, and there's no fire trucks and people asking you for carriage rides or anything else that's going on in New York.
Well, good. So tell us a little bit about what you're thinking about professionally today. What's good? What's bad? What's top of mind?
Just really trying to grow the business. I mean, it's a startup that I'm involved with right now, and it's all about, attracting customers to buy our product. And we've been doing it for about 7 or 8 months now. And it's an experience and it's a challenge.
What's challenging about it?
It's a business to consumer experience, and you just simply don't know who's going to be coming in and who's going to buy.
Yeah. And what has been fun about it?
That's part of it, just the unknown. And it's in the marketing piece of it and the mission. I can't really reveal too much more at this point in time, but it's a combination of a lot of different things.
So you're in growth mode with a startup.
Correct.
And going through the highs and lows that come along with that.
Absolutely.
A journey, for sure. Got
to enjoy the journey, right?
Yeah. So brag about yourself a little bit. What are you really good at?
Well, I've been in business for a long time and thankfully had some successful exits in the past, and I've learned a lot over that time frame. So I think I'm really good at understanding what needs to be done and hopefully, getting everybody to move in the right direction to either fix or to be successful, in our strategy. Business it's pretty simple. You have revenue and you have costs, and hopefully at the end of the day you have profit, and you just have to figure out what needs to be done and then eventually just make decisions that are always in the best interest of the business, not for you personally, not for the employee, not for the landlord, but for the business. And I think if you could do that, then everything else in the long run will work out.
Yeah, that makes sense. Having the right business model, balancing those. If you don't have that, you don't really have a business. So
it's true.
So would you identify yourself more as a visionary or an operator when you think about your business leadership style?
I probably identify more as a visionary. I have the ability to know where I want to go. But at the same time, once that vision is done, then you have to actually do the work.
Right.
And I think I'm pretty good at reminding everybody what the vision is on a regular basis so we can get the work done.
But you can see the steps ahead that need to be taken.
Correct.
That's a good skill. What do you think makes a successful entrepreneur today?
Today, I think it's an interesting world because, back in the old days, you didn't have access to networks, people, instant information. So it was a little bit more difficult to, get that first sale, for example, or to go raise money or to do whatever you're going to be doing. And so in that respect, it's good. But I think on the flip side of that, because everything is so technology driven and everything's at your fingertips, I think a lot of entrepreneurs tend to think that they don't need to do the work. And they're always looking for the quick fix, AI. Let's, just get out there and we'll get a bunch of likes, on the Instagram. But you have to actually do the work at the end of the day. And you really have to be in a situation where you have whatever your dream is as an entrepreneur, it's practical, meaning that somebody is going to buy your good or your service at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. Someone was referring to this the other day as the shiny object syndrome, that when you are just going to look for that magical solution, you just bounce from one thing to the next of what's new or great or the one thing that somebody else did that was successful. And that's not how this works.
No. And there's a company that I'm interested in. I'm not sure I'm interested. They're trying to see if I have an interest in investing in them. And it's a school security company. They have invented this lock. And so I referred them to a school just to see how it would work. And the connection was made. And I was thinking that the entrepreneur, the owner, would make contact because he's doing the selling at this point in time with the school and talk and learn and then hopefully come up with a solution. Instead, he has a 12 questionnaire, 4 videos, AI, and right away he's forcing the potential customer to do a pile of work before he'll even engage with them. So I'm a little skeptical that that's going to work out down the road.
So despite all of the technological advances, you think the human element of business is critical?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's the technological aspects are a plus, but if you can't make human connection, I don't know how far you're to go.
Oh, and they're tools. At the end of the day, they're tools. So if you're a carpenter, you got your hammer and your saw and everything else. Well, you still have to put your hand on that hammer and you still have to put your hand on the saw to make a move. Right. And it's the same thing in business. I mean, you have to do the work at the end of the day.
So what do you think are the biggest challenges that entrepreneurs face today?
Probably the fact that there's just so much opportunity that it might be difficult, let's say, to come up with a strategy where again you find that consumer that's going to buy your good or your service. I also think that because there's so much technology out there today, a lot of people think they could just simply get a quick fix. They can get wildly rich in 2 or 3 years simply by pressing a couple buttons. And yes, that's maybe happened in the past, but even if you look at Google and Facebook and all these other companies that have been wildly successful, Amazon, I mean, it took them a long, long time, to actually get there. It wasn't like they just snapped the finger and suddenly they had this great company.
No, it's very true. I was reading something recently about Lululemon was founded in like 1991, 1992. Equinox, the big gym chain now national, opened its first gym on the Upper East Side in 1991. And we think of these brands as things that started 5-10 years ago, and they've been around for decades. So I don't think that's talked about enough. I think everyone thinks it's just this quick trajectory to being a household name, and it takes time.
Yeah, and one of the books that I would highly recommend if you're thinking about starting your own business is Phil Knight's book about how he started Nike.
Shoe Dog,
yeah. I mean, he was door to door, years and years and years before, the business finally took off.
Yeah, the hustle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think about our sales cycle for indie as like and growth now is like a boomerang. It's like you have to put as much stuff as you can, as much momentum into the first half of the boomerang, and hopefully eventually that's going to tip and then it's going to come back around and you're going to see growth that way. But for some reason, that visualization has been helpful for me lately because I'm just thinking like, how many activities can I push into the boomerang? Like whether it be in-person events or coffee meetings or posts on LinkedIn or social media, whatever it is, just how can you cram that front part of the boomerang and hope that eventually there's enough momentum that you start to see growth come back around the other side.
Yeah, I mean, you call it a boomerang, I call it building a foundation.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if you have a strong foundation, you're going to have a strong business.
Yeah, fair. Yeah. As you think about your marketing ecosystem for your company, what would be something that you would change, or if you could have wave a magic wand, What would it be?
And this may be, if you could figure this out at Indy, I think this would be phenomenal. And we've talked about this before, but it's just simply having this brand presence where obviously you get likes, you get a lot of views, but does that necessarily translate into dollars? And I think whoever can figure out how that next piece of it works, that ROI, is going to make trillions of dollars. I will say, though, that what's happening now in marketing is way more effective than what we saw 15, 20 years ago. You know, you sit around a table, people be all dressed kind of cool, and, you know, they give you a big presentation. There's no way in the world they could possibly give you any type of ROI. You're either doing direct mail, you're changing your logo. This is before the website world occurred. Or maybe you spent a ton of dollars on radio or TV, but you had no idea at the end of the day if it was going to work or not.
Yeah.
And you spent a ton of money.
Yeah. No, it is more, there's more attribution opportunity today than there used to be, for sure. And I think that the signals like a social media follow or like directionally can be tied back to, like, there's a correlation back to sales, but it's not a perfect science. So despite the fact that we can track more now than ever before, it's still art and science to get that balance right.
100%. Well, I think at the end of the day, it's, do you have a good product?
Right.
Right. And hopefully through marketing, people will be willing to try it.
Yeah.
And then from there, I think it's all about the human experience. Just people referring their friends, people referring their network, you know, to go buy your service or buy your product.
Yeah. And how easy is it to get your product too?
Correct.
Like, what does that path to purchase look like? Yeah. So what relationship has had the most impact on you over your career?
Yeah. I mean, multiple relationships. You know, as you go through your career, you have mentors, and, you know, there's mentors that can help you, you know, as you're getting started. Then there's other mentors help you when you're going to sell. And then there's mentors that you have when you've sold. And then what are you going to do next? I unfortunately didn't have my father to help me mentor, since he passed away when I was 24 years old. But there's been other people in my life that have been very influential to me. But it's not necessarily one single person. There's different stages for different types of people. All remain great friends, by the way. But it's just, you know, understanding that, you know, that one mentor may not be everything to you based on the stage of business that you're in.
So your advice would be seek out different types of mentors based off of where you're at in your journey. Correct.
Or, you know, if it's a business, let's say, is struggling with hiring the right people, then seek out a mentor that's done really well in hiring people. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think it's, as you are aware with Indy, your business was probably a lot different when it was just you and a couple of people, right?
Yeah.
Compared to what it is right now.
It's very different.
So, right. So there's those people out there that I think are helpful if you understand that. I think mentorship obviously is very important, and continuing with those relationships based on, as you change, you know, some of the people that you may in your network are going to change as well.
Yeah. A lot of people that have come on the show so far have referenced different mentors when asked this question. But I think, and I think it just showcases the importance of having mentors as you build a business, especially. How would you recommend somebody go out and find a mentor if they feel like they want one but don't know where to start?
I mean, the easiest thing to do is just simply look at your own personal friend and family network. You know, is there somebody out there that's maybe a parent of one of your friends, or is an uncle, or is somebody, you know, two people removed, you know, that have done similar things to what you've done, or trying to do rather. And I think most people want to help. And if they're approached, they'll sit down and talk to you. And I think it's well worth your while to try to do that. If there isn't anybody out there, then there's all these networks out there. There's Vistage, obviously, and there's, you know, each local group, each local area probably has their own, you know, through the Chamber of Commerce or through something else, where you can, you know, get into a peer group per se, and then maybe some of those peers will refer a mentor to you at that point in time.
Yeah. No, I think it's as simple as just asking most of the time, and also having questions that you want help with. I think occasionally I hear people say, oh, I want a mentor. And then they connect with the mentor and they're like, okay, so hi. And like they have no specific topics. I think when you're mentoring someone and they actually bring either problems to you or things they want to work on, that makes for a much easier mentor-mentee relationship.
100% agree. And I think you must be prepared when you go talk to the mentor, because the mentor, he or she want to help.
Right.
They don't want to just kind of hang out and wait for you to ask questions.
Yeah,
right. So maximize your time with them and they're going to respect that. And then they're going to feel more motivated to want to help you.
Yeah, agree. Okay, so tell us who you are. What's the big reveal?
So I guess the thing I'm most proud of is I'm a father to a podcast host. So my name is Jim Baker, and yes, Molly is my daughter. And I am happily married with 4 kids and grandkids now, and had a company called Occam, which was a clinical research organization. So we basically did clinical trials for oncology, mostly in phase 1 and phase 2. And had that business for about 25 years, and we sold it back in 2014. Then I did what most people do, write a book that nobody reads. And I still have about 250 copies of it at my house. And it's a great sleep aid, though, if you're looking to, I'm just kidding, but it's 110 pages with big words. Nonetheless, I wrote a book, and then I've done some investing. And I also do some advisory work. So I'm part of a team with a healthcare company in Cary, North Carolina called Optimal Bio. And then I also decided to open up a tea and coffee shop called 50 Cups.
And you can buy the tea online.
You can buy the tea online. And we're trying to go wholesale. So hopefully you'll see it in your favorite coffee shop or tea shop down the road. And yes, we do have a retail outlet. And that's my struggle at this point in time.
How has the transition been, or I guess better question, what has been most surprising about starting a CPG company after you worked in services for your entire career?
Well, a lot of things, but the unpredictability of who's actually going to walk in the door, who's actually going to go online and order. And whereas we knew who our target was in my previous company, they were biotech and pharmaceutical firms. And so we could just go and talk to them and have our scientists behind us, and hopefully they like us enough and we have the right experience, and they would give us a clinical trial. And that trial might be worth anywhere from $500,000 to $5 million. And so then once we sold it, we knew we had work for 3 or 6 or a year or 2 years. Somebody coming in that door to buy some tea or coffee, it's a $3 to $6 transaction, and it's consumed in 10 or 15 minutes, and then they're out the door. And so the goal obviously there is to get more and more people, but there's no such thing as backlog in the retail world.
Yeah. I mean, your life cycle is way shorter, and then you have to put a lot of efforts into retaining those customers to get them to continue to come back, which requires investment and time. And yeah. Yeah.
And I take a look at you, who's a proud foodie, and you love great coffee and tea and everything, but you're not going to the same store every single day.
True. No. But if I have a product that I like that I can order online, I will be loyal to that.
That's true.
And
until
I do
something
like
else comes along.
Yeah. No, it's always up for, the customers are always up for grabs.
Of course.
Yeah.
Right.
We interviewed somebody, his episode actually came out on Wednesday. His name's Elliot, and he works for an e-commerce company. And he said, the only types of people that want to start a CPG startup just like being punched in the face over and over again. He's like, that's what I would relate this experience to. And it's true. I mean, to be honest, I can't imagine starting a product-based company at this point. I mean, it's so hard in different ways, and you're reliant on so many more factors. Like there's something simple about a services business to some extent. It has its own challenges, but at least you don't have a supply chain that you're working with.
That's true.
It's different.
And I think, you talk about vision and strategy, and the vision really is, I'm into health, and our population is getting sicker and sicker. 1996, 18 and under, 14% of those people were on medication. Today, it's 56%. So if our young are unhealthy, they're going to be even more unhealthy when they're old. And tea has a lot of healthy benefits. So we feel like 50 Cups, we're all united in one thing. Our motto is United We Sip. And we're all united in the fact that none of us want to get sick. Nobody goes to bed at night dreaming about getting sick. They go to bed every night hopefully feeling like tomorrow's going to be a new day and they're going to get better. problem is when we have that person that comes in, they just simply want to drink sometimes, and they want a donut that we don't serve because it's loaded with sugar.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's education that has to be done as well.
And that's where you've been very beneficial so far.
We love working with family. It's fun. So what does an average day look like for you right now?
Well, it depends. If I'm actually have to go behind the counter, and this is a example due to the fact that our workforce this week are mostly college kids and they're all on spring break. So open the store up at 6:30 and get it all set up to go. Open the doors at 7, and we go all day long. And I'm making lattes, and I'm making matchas. I'm making, you name it. I know how to make drinks now, which
Amazing.
I guess is a good talent to learn.
Yeah. Hey, you never know what that will serve you.
When I'm not behind the counter, it's mostly it's the finance piece of it. It's the marketing piece of it. It's the strategy. We're always in hiring mode, looking for good people. So it's recruiting, and hopefully it all comes together at some point in time.
So what would you say is the high of your current role and the low of your current role?
I get excited when we've sold to a wholesale account, and I get excited when we have online orders. And I get super excited. Our goal is to have all of our customers send us videos from all 50 states in the country. And right now we have 5. So we have 45 to go. But I get really excited when those people do that for us.
Yeah. And what's the low part?
Just the unpredictability of the business.
Yeah. Yeah.
You simply just don't know.
But that's the case with any startup, right?
To some extent, mostly on the retail side. I mean, the wholesale, yes, it's predictable. You got to go, hit X amount of stores, X amount of institutions before you're going to get some sales. But when you open that door in the morning and you've done everything you possibly could do to attract people into your location, maybe you got the wrong location.
Yeah.
Maybe the weather's bad. Nobody likes to come out in the rain for some reason. We have, there's a myriad of reasons. And at the end of the day, obviously I don't know all the reasons why they're not coming into the store, but there's days where it's busy, and then there's other days where it's quiet and you just can't figure out why.
Yeah. Yeah, that's hard. But it's only been 6, 7 months, 8 months. Not a lot of time.
That's true.
It could change. How does 50 Cups, in your experience with this, it differs so much from your previous business, but, talk a little bit about that. Like, what have you learned now that has been surprising or unexpected, given the just variance of how this experience is?
I think you forget that when you've taken a business and it was nothing, and then you eventually have $55 million in revenue and you got 400 plus people, it's a hard job, but it's all the other people are doing like most of the work, right? You're leading, you're strategizing, you're buying other companies. That's a lot of fun. But you're not doing the day-to-day execution. Whereas this is it's a rewind. I mean, you're going back to the start, where you're cleaning bathrooms and you're turning on the coffee pot and you're grinding the beans and you're mixing the tea, and, you got to do everything yourself. And unfortunately, leadership is 90% perception. So if you want other people to do a better job, then they better see you doing a job. You can't just simply talk about it, sit in the back and point your finger.
Yeah. Has that been humbling?
It's been frustrating sometimes.
I bet.
Humbling, no big deal. I've never been one not to do anything.
Yeah.
But on the same token, it's just sometimes you question yourself. Well, I've already done all this. Why do I want to do it again? But it's a challenge, and I enjoy challenges. And if you don't change, then you're going to wither away.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, I think it's an interesting experience to go through again, but definitely probably takes a lot of, just perspective to make sure that this is what you want to continue doing and putting your time and effort towards, because it's not easy work.
No. And I do admire, and I'm thinking about this too. I mean, there are, other people out there that have been very successful that have started up new things and decided after a while that, okay, I tried it and
right.
It's just not for me. And they turn it off and go try something else. For me, I'd rather try and fail than have this in the back of my mind and never try.
Yeah. Yeah. At 21, did you ever think you would have a tea company?
No, I didn't.
What did you think you were going to be doing when you were 21?
Well, I sold consumer paper. So basically I sold toilet paper. That was my first job out of school. And I called on all these retail accounts in the New York metropolitan area. And so what I did know then is I wanted to work hard and make money. And working for this corporation, you had to work hard, but you didn't make any money. So eventually I just wanted to be able to self-perform. And if I did, then I would hopefully be in a situation where I could get paid. And so that's what drove me to start my own business.
So just wanting to be in a different situation and have more control of your situation than you were at the age of 21.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. What would be your biggest piece of advice for somebody who's looking to start a business?
I mean, simply be willing to work. And secondly, you may have the greatest idea in the world, but if nobody's willing to buy your service or your product, you either may be too early or you may be too late. So find something that people are actually going to buy and make sure you run with that, because you can always evolve as time goes by, but you need to start somewhere where there's a market.
Yeah. And have that initial sort of business plan in mind of how you're going to make money.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy how often that's not the case.
Yeah. Don't do any hockey sticks either. Nobody believes them.
What do you mean?
Hockey sticks where somebody comes and they're trying to raise some money and they're starting a company, and the first year the graph is flat. Second year it goes a little bit higher. And the third year it literally skyrockets by 100 times. And you're like, well, how are you going to do that?
Yeah.
And they can't give an answer. So I would rather have somebody come in and say, it's going to be terrible for 4 years, but then in the fifth year, we're going to start incrementally growing. You're going to get your money back as an investor. And from there, we're going to have, it's a mathematical equation. We're going to have X amount of customers. We're going to be in X amount of markets. And eventually we're going to take off.
Yeah.
That's believable.
Yeah. Someone told me today that if you have a retail / like online startup, you're not going to make money in the first 2 years. How do you feel about that?
No surprise.
Well, I think it's exciting. I think time will tell, and you're doing all the things to build the foundation right now. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
So on the health front, because this is the purpose behind 50 Cups, what's your vision for health for young Americans?
Yeah, so ultimately, I'm never going to ask, tea, by the way, is the number 2 drink in the world. I'm never going to ask tea to supplant coffee, because coffee's number 2 in America, water's number 1. And all I'm simply doing is saying, hey, this is a very organic, it's a natural product. It has a lot of compounds, it has a lot of antioxidants, it has a lot of natural things that are from the earth that help you heal and help you perform better, help you give energy, help you to relax, help you to de-stress, help you to detox, help you to hydrate. I mean, all those things are in these herbal teas. And I'm just simply asking you to buy our product as opposed to a Gatorade, a Diet Coke, or any of these other Monster drinks, any of these other energy drinks out there that are so-called health. There's 256 different names of sugar that the FDA allows to be put into these soda cans, these Gatorade bottles, et cetera, et cetera. And half of them, or 3/4 of them, are under the guise of names of fruits, for example, where you think you're actually getting something that's healthy. Well, it's highly processed, and at the end of the day, it's sugar. And I think sugar is the ultimate culprit in our country at this point in time, and our tea can solve that problem for you.
Love it. Love it. I mean, the detox tea is my favorite. I think it's phenomenal.
Somebody I know once we brought it out, she's been drinking detox for over a year, and she hasn't gotten sick once.
Really?
That's what she said. So.
Wow. Big claim. We love that. Let's do a quick round of trendy or tragic. So I'm going to give you a topic. You're going to tell me what you think.
All right.
Okay. Looking at candidates' social media before you hire them. Trendy or tragic?
Tragic.
Why?
I think you can look at them. Well, maybe I'm
surprised, by the way, that you said tragic.
Actually, I'm reversing it.
Okay.
Trendy.
Okay.
It absolutely should be done. You
okay.
know, if you
so
like somebody a lot, and you think they're going to be good for the job, but you're not quite sure, then let's see how they operate behind the scenes, so to speak. And we had a candidate once a long time ago in my old company when social media was just starting, and everybody seemed to like him. But one of the employees looked him up, and he wasn't somebody we want to hire. So I'm grateful for it. So it shouldn't even be trendy. It should be almost a requirement now.
Yeah. I mean, it is how you market. That's how you're marketing yourself, right? Like at this point, we all know that how you present online says a lot about you, or is going to say a lot about you.
And I do a little work with a local high school for entrepreneurship, and we talk a lot about your brand is the most important thing you have, right? So your brand's got to be great as an employee, but it's also got to be great as a human being. And since everybody's on their device 24/7 these days, you're basically every single day you're either making that brand better or you're making it worse.
Yeah. No, it's important. I agree. Sometimes I almost feel bad looking up people, but because it feels like you're encroaching on their privacy to some extent, but make your account private if you don't want people to look.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay. The 4-day work week, trendy or tragic?
Tragic.
I knew you'd get fired up about this. Why?
You got to work. If you want to get ahead in life and you want to do well, then you have to work. And this kind of plays into our 50 cups situation with our health and whatever, because at the end of the day, you're either a victim of your circumstance or you're a victor. And I think there's a lot of people out there that think they deserve a 4-day work week. They think they deserve, and we saw it this morning. I mean, I'm walking through the park at 10 to 11:30 this morning, and I'm on a day off, by the way, but there's a lot of people out there exercising and running. So I'm either thinking, well, either they're quote unquote working from home today, or some of these companies are giving them mental health days on Friday, or they took the day off. But I'm naturally thinking that it's probably one of the work from home days. So the 4-day work week to me I think will be a thing of the past down the road.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't have an issue with like, if you have a flexible schedule and can go for a run on a Friday at 10, good for you. But then that might mean that you have to log on for a few hours on Sunday. And I feel like that isn't the mentality right now. It's like, okay, these are my boundaries. These are my days, and I'm never going to go outside of that. And that's just not the world that's not reality for the world that we live in. If you want to be successful, I think.
Correct.
Yeah. How do you structure your weeks? I'm always curious to hear about this. Do you make like a plan on Sunday? Are you just like free flying? Like what does that look like?
I mean, it's pretty structured, for the most part. For example, Optimal Bio is Tuesdays for me, and 50 Cups is right now the rest of the week, give or take. Obviously, the schedule gets a little bit different if I have to go behind the counter. But usually, I think in our family, it's well known that we call them Sunday scaries. Probably by right after breakfast, around 11 o'clock in the morning, this malaise sets in and you start thinking about Monday, and you don't really enjoy the rest of your Sunday afternoon because you got your whole week ahead of you and you're looking at what needs to be done.
It's so weird. I've never noticed you do that.
Well,
I'm kidding, obviously. You don't speak on Sundays.
Look who's calling the kettle black.
You're just thinking about the week ahead. Do you work out every day?
Yes, except for Sundays.
Okay, day of rest.
Yes, 6 days, 1 day off. Yep.
Love it.
Honor the Sabbath.
Last trendy or tragic topic, Dick Vitale's reported return to ESPN as a broadcaster.
He's been a great ambassador for basketball. So I'll say trendy in this case. He's been a warrior battling cancer. And, the thing about him that unfortunately a lot of the younger people never could really witness is, and this is what I love about people that are in business or in life, he has a passion for what he does. He truly loves the game. He truly loves to broadcast. He loves the students. He loves everything about basketball. And when you exude that passion, you get excited just watching it. You want to follow this guy. You want to like this guy. And I think, so for me, maybe he's lasted a little too long. But the flip side, I will never criticize somebody who's got a passion for something.
Yeah. No, good for him.
Absolutely.
If he wants to come back for another round, why not?
Yeah.
Hopefully
he earned the right.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Agree. All right. So closing out, what's one piece of advice you would give me? based on what you know about Indy and my life right now?
Make decisions in the best interest of the company and believe in yourself and just simply stay the course, because you and anybody else that follows that advice will be wildly successful, not only in business, but also in life.
Love it. Where can people find 50 Cups?
Instagram.
At 50 Cups Tea, right?
Yes. TikTok at 50 Cups Tea. Web, 50cupstea.com. And then if you're in Raleigh, come to 3512 Wade Avenue in Raleigh, and we'll have the door open for you.
Never in my life did I think you'd have a TikTok. And where can people find you?
I'm on LinkedIn, and that's about it. You're not going to see me on IG. You're not seeing me anywhere else. So
Jim Baker on LinkedIn.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here.
This is a great honor. I'm very proud, and thank you very much.
Thank you. If you want to experience the flavors and benefits of 50 Cups Tea for yourself, we've got a special offer for you. Use the code NAMEDROP10 at 50cupstea.com to receive 10% off your order. Again, use the code NAMEDROP10 for 10% off your order. Happy sipping! All right, so you guys can find us on Instagram at namedrop.pod, and I'm at Mal Bakes. Thanks so much.